Welcome to day 17 and 18 of our 274 night Ultimate World Cruise adventure. So today we're heading to Fortaleza, Brazil. We climb some sand dunes and we even get interviewed on the Today Show. So
Yes.
stay tuned for that.
All right. Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we're living that full life on Royal Caribbean's 274 night, 9-month Ultimate World Cruise.
On Serenade of the Seas.
So thanks for joining us. And as mentioned, we're going to Fortaleza, Brazil. This is an interesting stop. They haven't had a cruise ship. This is what we're told. They haven't had a cruise ship in Fortaleza for like 10 years. So that it's going to be a little different as we're coming into port. We are docking in an industrial port, and we're finding that we do that quite often on this world cruise. You know, when you go to the Caribbean and places that receive cruise ships all the time, they've got dedicated ports for cruise ships. They have shopping and all kinds of things there. For many of the ports we're going to, these are just city ports. This is where their cargo comes in or anything that they need, and they're docking us right along with that. So with that, we can't exactly just walk off the ship.
Right. No, they don't let you walk through some of those industrial ports. As soon as you get off the ship, you are ushered directly onto a bus, and then the bus takes you out of the port area into more of a receiving area.
Right, kind of a passenger terminal or something. Yeah, so that I mean, they obviously are set up to receive passengers in some way, but yeah, it's not something you get off, like if any of you have been to Cozumel, where it's right there on the pier and you walk into all that. We did take a Royal Caribbean excursion this time. Yeah, it was a city tour with nature walk.
It was. And so this was a sweet tour here that our guide took us around to different places in the city. The first that we went to were the Mangroves at a park, Sabia Guaba.
Yeah.
Sabia Guaba.
Yeah.
It was the name of the park where we saw the mangroves, and it's pretty. A lot of crabs that were there.
Yeah. So it's the mangroves for any coastal city is very, very important. And we've heard had a lot of different guides talk about this. That's where fish lay their eggs. It keeps the environment healthy. So healthy mangroves are a good sign for a city, and you know, so they're very proud of that area. And in fact, the area had a little beach. It had a restaurant, so you could tell at night people would go there, have dinner, and overlook the bay we looked at. Then right across the street from the mangroves,
right, was sand dunes.
Sand dunes, and we felt right at home. So.
Just like sand dunes we have in Michigan.
Yep. We live about 30 miles or so inland from Lake Michigan, and we have massive, massive sand dunes. And for those of you that live in that area, you see some of this video, you probably think, oh, wow, how'd they get from the southern Atlantic Ocean to Brazil to Michigan? But that is actually Fortaleza, Brazil. I climbed the sand dunes, went up to the top to get a nice view and to a nice overlook, and it was a straight down drop, back to the street, but yeah, it was a nice climb. It was a little hot out there today.
It was.
Yeah.
I didn't climb it just because it was quite warm, and honestly, I didn't want to get a lot of sand in my tennis shoes either.
And again, we've climbed sand dunes back in Michigan before, but this was nice, and I'm always saying I'm going to take on every challenge this Ultimate World Cruise brings us. And then after that, we went to kind of their equivalents of Central Park, huge, massive downtown park.
And this one is called Trilha do Coco.
Yeah.
Is I believe how they pronounce it. Yeah, and it's right in the middle of town, just like Central Park is in New York City. And we took a nature walk throughout that, and we didn't really see a lot of wildlife. Our guide said there are monkeys there, but as soon as the monkeys hear us, they scatter pretty quickly. One thing we did see were these huge termite hives, maybe you would call them, that surrounded the trees. They're just quite huge. Numerous.
Yeah. One thing that to point out, though, how this is different than Central Park, this is all natural. So it's not, it doesn't have a lot of like play areas or maintained grass areas or things. It's just a natural nature walk through the middle of town. So that was nice. It was a good way to get out. I think that would be a great place to Just have a long, long nature walk. One thing our guide did several times, in fact, probably 5, 10 times, something like that, as we were walking, he would suddenly stop, talk to somebody local and say, "Oh, where are you from?" And we would all kind of talk to the person, or if they didn't speak English, he would talk in Portuguese to them, and just get to know them. And here was one great example where he stopped actually some police officers who
Yes.
were patrolling the Central Park area to keep it safe, and he, just to kind of say, who are you? And very personable. And I love that because it gives you a personal touch to the people in the country that you're visiting. It's not just, oh, I'm seeing your city or your park. I'm actually getting to know somebody and how they live and what they do. He did that with a couple ladies with a couple young children, the police. He did it with some college students later. It was really fun. I liked him doing that. Yeah. And then next?
And then after that, he took us to 3 different, beach stops, so we didn't really, play in the water or
Yeah.
anything like that. We just got out and looked around, and the water breaks, that jet out into the water, he called those cobs.
Yeah, like corn
And
cobs.
like a
Yeah.
corn cob, and we would walk out to the end just to get some good views and some
Mhm.
good pictures.
Yeah, and one thing though, on the way to the beach, we did drive through the city. One thing about Fortaleza, and again, they're not a huge tourist destination. I mean, this is
Right.
just a city in Brazil where people live, work, live their lives. Um, it certainly was a little bit more on the impoverished side, that we could tell. Nothing wrong with the
Yeah.
city in that, but crime's a little higher there.
Sure.
Now, the beach areas and things, we had friends that just took a taxi and went down to the beach, or took an Uber's actually better. One of the people that we spoke with back on the ship, they tried to take a taxi. After they got there, they said, "Oh, that'll be $300 for the taxi for the 10-minute ride," and so you have to always be on your guard for things like that. That's why we actually recommend using Uber. Uber, you pay Uber. That's what you pay when you go. You know how much it's going to be. There's not this surprise taxi, suddenly trying to run your credit card for $300. So,
But
you know,
something that's interesting is they have Uber motorcycles
yeah,
there.
yeah,
And with an Uber motorcycle, you can get most anywhere for under $5.
yeah.
And
If it's only
and
1 or 2 miles, he said it's like $1 for an
yeah,
Uber motorcycle. Yeah.
the Uber drivers supply the helmets, and
Mhm.
he said that could be rather interesting
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, you get
You
the
could just
what did
imagine.
he say? 2 out of 10 are pretty stinky,
Yeah.
but he uses them all the time, our guide, because for $1 you can get almost anywhere in the city. And so yeah,
Yeah.
Uber motorcycle. I thought that was very
That's neat.
interesting too. But yeah, the stops at the beach were nice. We had a beautiful view of our ship from across the bay.
Mhm.
That was kind of nice. We got to see that. We got the view of the city and all the beaches. What you'll notice in some of the pictures you're seeing, the beaches really weren't, excuse me, the vendors or restaurants or bars at the beaches really weren't open. Brazilians, and he kind of laughs, he goes, "We Brazilians," he goes, "we don't go out in the heat." He says, "It's hot in the middle of the day. We go at 5 in the morning, we'll exercise on the beach, maybe go for runs." And he goes, "Then at 5 o'clock at night, we come back, and that's when all the bars and restaurants, that's when Brazilians go to the beach." He said, "You see a lot of tourists on the beach during the day, but so yeah, a lot wasn't really open at that time."
And our ship was departing at 5 o'clock,
Yeah,
so
so
we
there
didn't
was,
get to see any of the nightlife.
yeah,
But
yeah. So once we got back from our shore excursion, it was interesting. We just were going to go sit by the pool. We checked our email, and guess what? We got an email from.
from the Today Show, that they wanted to interview us, being on a 9-month world cruise,
Mhm,
and so we emailed them back, or you called them because they'd given a
mhm,
phone number,
mhm.
and boy, within 30 minutes we had a Zoom call with them,
Uh-huh.
and that was
That was
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
So
was. It's
yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
they taped us on the Zoom call that afternoon, and they actually edited, got it together, and it ran at 7:30 the next morning.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, it was like, wow, okay. I guess people are really interested in this world cruise thing.
We can certainly introduce you to a couple of them,
New characters unlocked.
like Mike and Nancy Jacobs from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Empty nesters with the time for a long adventure and a reality check on rumors about special treatment for certain passengers.
I really feel like Royal has exceeded our expectations on this cruise.
There is no tier system.
It was very neat. So
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So then that evening,
we had Giovanni's. It's a specialty restaurant. Although we did it a little differently because there was a group of 12 of us. And so we did Giovanni's at the chef's table. They're right next door to each other, and no one had reserved the chef's table, and so we were able to have our large group together, so we could all eat together
in the
and
private venue.
yeah, in the private venue, and they just brought the Giovanni's food into us.
Yeah, that was really nice. And that's the kind of thing Royal Caribbean's doing on this is they're trying to be as open and accommodating and little special things that normally on other ships you wouldn't. We're going to be on this ship for 9 months. We're kind of like family. And so, we were talking to the person that books all the different chefs. He's in charge of the chef's table. He didn't have it booked that night. And he goes, hey, you just pay the Giovanni's price. He goes, you can come eat at my chef's table. And
that was
it
cool.
was awesome.
It was
We
nice.
really enjoyed that. In fact, we even invited Father John, who did the mass on Christmas. He came and had dinner with us and all our friends. And no, it was a nice experience. In fact, we're going to do it again. And if you haven't seen the full chef's table experience, go back and check out our previous video when we're in Aruba, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
And one of the nights there, we did a chef's table. So yeah, you'll get to see what the real chef's table, and it's quite extensive. So take a look at that as well. So, and then after the Giovanni's,
we didn't go to a headline. We missed the headliner show because dinner took quite a while, and so we actually just came back to our room and went to bed for the night.
And we had a sea day the next day.
Day 18 was a sea day, and that we started out the day. So this was again kind of cool. So our friends gathered around and we watched the Today Show, and we watched the interview that they only took just a tiny snippet of what we had said, maybe 3 or 4 sentences, I think is about all from our 30-minute interview. And they had interviewed others that were on the ship as well, talking about their experience on a 9-month world cruise.
Yeah, but that was fun. We did that. And then
following that, then we had the Equator crossing ceremony.
Right.
This was very sweet.
It was cute. Yeah.
Yeah. King
I think
Neptune came out.
Yes. I think what we'll do is I took video of the whole thing. We'll probably just upload that as a separate video so you can see that it was funny. The dunking of the ice on all the crew, senior officers on board the ship, and we even participated a little bit afterwards with kissing Neptune's fish. So yeah, I'll upload that. So if you want to see what the full ceremony that they put on looks like, then you can see that there. You can see a couple little snippets while we're talking here, but it was fun. It was funny and fun. It was cute, that they did that. Yep. And then after that, just a relaxing day, right?
After that, we were in the solarium. For the afternoon, we did some swimming, had dinner, and then the headline show was Gold Art Duo. They were very good. They're acrobats, and they did aerial acts and
kind of comedy too. And
bit,
they've been on America's Got Talent, and they've been on. I apologize. Can't remember if it's Bulgaria or Ukraine's Got Talent, and they got to the semifinals. They got to the semifinals there. They were very good, and in fact, much better than I expected. I was very pleased with them, and especially the comedy aspects and things. He was really funny. So,
but the fellow, it was a couple. The fellow, he was so strong. Oh my goodness, he was strong.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then after that, we went ahead and got some rest because the next day we have Recife, Brazil.
Right.
So tune into the next video for that, and you'll see how we did there. Recife is a little more touristy. They do receive a lot. They get about 30 cruise ships a year, so you'll see that and how we enjoyed that, and you'll see our adventures there.
All right, thanks for watching, friends. We're so glad you're here. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Have a beautiful day. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.